How you doing, everybody? Thanks for stopping by and joining us today for Rollin' Over the Hill right here on the Live to Roll channel. Thank you for being part of the Live to Roll family. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. They're a great and helpful group of experts that are very much part of our community and help make things possible here at Live to Roll. So a big thanks to them. On today's show, we have a special guest, Anthony Orefice. He's an all-around good guy, and we'll be discussing his life as a spinal cord injury. Today, we'll be starting something new on Rolling Over the Hill, the question of the day. So today's question is, has your opinion changed about support groups and peer mentoring between the time you were injured to the present day? So please make sure to include your answers, questions, comments, and views as always, in the chat. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Soto. I'm a T12 spinal cord injury from a motorcycle racing accident almost 50 years ago. So let's get started and welcome my co-hosts, Bobby and Luis. Luis, what's up?
Hey, everybody. Great to see everybody here. My name is Luis. Coming up next month, February 14th, will be 44 years for me. And I'm a L3, L4, incomplete. I'm still trying to catch up to, Robert here, but I don't know if I'll ever catch him. Next thing I was going to say is next up is Bobby, so we can hear about Bobby's story and so he can introduce our guest.
Hey, Luis, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think the three of us combined cannot catch up to Robert. No, I'm kidding. My name is Bobby Rohan. I'm a C5-6 quadriplegic of 34 years almost. I'm March, so I'm a month after you, Luis, and I'm happy to be here in Southern California, happy to be here with all of you, and excited about our guest today because he's a personal friend of mine, and I don't know what I would do without him in my life. And just recently, this friend of mine that our guest today actually sold my old house, and I got way more than I expected, and it went so easy. So if you're looking for a realtor here in the Southern California area, I'm going to recommend Anthony. And but Anthony and I go way back since he was newly injured, right? Just like I think 4 months after his injury, because you were in the hospital for a while, but you got a story to tell. Please introduce yourself, Anthony Orefice.
Anthony Orefice. I've heard it like a couple different times. It's Orefice.
Yeah.
No, well,
I know, but
that's what everyone says.
Orifice. Or when you call it, I say Orifice.
Orifice. Yeah, don't worry. My family practices in the shower. I tell everybody, so it's all good. But yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. I'm so proud of Shawn with Live to Roll, and you guys are so official now, making this all come together. So I think it's cool, and I know I wouldn't be where I'm at without Bobby rolling into my room. So Bobby, this is kind of cool to do this. So I'm excited for today.
Yeah, it's kind of great. We had a meeting yesterday, and it was so easy for you as a guest to be here because we know you, the three of us know you really well, but I figured, for the audience, how can the audience best know Anthony? And we're going to take it up into 3 sections. And I'm going to start off with, tell us a little bit about yourself before your injury, because how long has it been?
Yeah, I'm the baby of the group here. I'm only 30 years, 30 years in a chair,
Yeah.
Wow.
So 30 years ago, what were you doing before your accident? I kind of know, but let's, you want to tell a little bit about yourself before your injury?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was 19 years old when I got hurt, and I was, I did everything. I snowboarded. I had a snowboard, dirt bike, jet ski, wakeboard. We did all the cool stuff. My brother had a boat, so we had cool stuff going on all the time. Just physically, everything was physical. So, and I was working. I graduated high school. Actually, it's weird because I got a baseball scholarship to play baseball for masters to be a pitcher. And they told me that after the year I graduated that you're going to be working all year with us all summer long and this and that. And I was like, what? no, 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 I'm going surfing. I'm getting girls. So I didn't take that opportunity. And then the next year I got paralyzed in a motorcycle accident. And I was drinking and driving. And I had my friend on the back of the motorcycle. He fell off the back of the motorcycle. And we found out later that he was like 3 times over the drinking limit. So we were going like 100 miles an hour. And when he fell off, it made me go off a road. And then my brother went the next day because I rode dirt bikes my whole life. So he's like, I know you knew what was going on. But when I went off the road, it was 2 o'clock in the morning in Santa Clarita, dark, you know. And my brother said, you must have saw the foam pole, but not the guide wire that the foam pole has next to it coming down. And so me and the bike, a CBR 600, went up the wire, and I hit the third spike up a telephone pole. It's 15 feet up in the air. So, I mean, the bike was like 15 feet over a fence, like in some lady's backyard. The lady actually woke up and she said that she saw him, or people heard me coming down the road. It was so loud. It was so fast, I guess. So it was 2 o'clock in the morning, made 3 people wake up. So I had witnesses that just heard it. It made them wake up. One lady looked out the window and she heard 3 huge thumps. And, you know, we think it was my friend falling off the bike, hitting the fence, me hitting the pole, and then me falling off the pole, you know, or we don't know, but it was 3 huge thumps. And so the lady actually was talking to me on the street, which I don't remember my accident at all. So my mom had a 1 year later party for me after my accident, you know. And so I had the paramedic come. I had the people that were at the accident. It was a huge thing. It was really cool. And I got to talk to people that were talking to me laying on the street there. And I was coherent. I was talking to them. And I was telling them, I told them my friend fell off the back of the motorcycle. And they're like looking at me like, what? There's nobody here. And they went looking way up the street. And I guess he was found against a fence. And he was coherent. And I guess I must have passed out or something because I didn't have my identity because I was a John Doe. And then my friend who they found gave him all my information. And so my friend, they were trying to contact my family. My family was in Laughlin. That was the first night they ever left me. It was a Thanksgiving weekend. So my mom and dad and my brother and his friend were in Laughlin. And by the time I got to the hospital, I think it was by 4 o'clock in the morning that they got the call that I was going to die and not make it through the night. And they said, take the first plane back to the hospital because he's going to die. And so my parents are like, what? And couldn't get a plane. So my dad just started driving. They all woke up and started driving for like 4 hours. But I guess he was doing 100. He made it in like 3, you know. And he was trying to get pulled over, you know. He never got, I guess that's the time to go through the desert there is 3 o'clock in the morning. No one pulled him over and he was just going. So I was in the hospital for 6 months. But I did, you know, before my accident, I was working at UPS. And it's another crazy thing about my life because I was 19 years old. I didn't even know I had health insurance. I didn't ask. You know, I was just making money. You know, I didn't care about that other stuff. I didn't think, you know. So my parents, after they saw what happened to me and I was going to be in the hospital for a long time, I needed 9 surgeries. They thought they were going to have to sell their house and do everything to pay for me. And then we find out later from UPS that I've got the best Aetna PPO plan out there. So it paid $6 million while I was in the hospital. So I got so lucky, you know, that I had that because again, things that you don't think about when you're young. And man, that would have been a bad way to start off life having all this debt. So I got lucky to have that insurance cover all those bills back in the day. And then obviously I made it through rehab.
It's kind of strange. You know, we've known each other for 30 years. I just learned 2 new things about you. One, I don't think you've ever told me about your scholarship, your baseball scholarship. Mm-hmm. And then number 2, I didn't know your family put together a 1-year party like that. I don't remember you ever talking about it in any of our groups or bringing that up. So that's really interesting. But one thing I do remember is you were in ICU for a long time because pretty much you bled out. And, you know, how long before after your accident until you were able to join rehab where I finally got to meet up with you?
Yeah, I was in the hospital for 4 months. I had 9 surgeries before I got to rehab. And by that time, I already got a 4-inch by 6-inch bed sore on my tailbone. So they wouldn't let me start rehab at Northridge unless they had to do a skin flap surgery where they closed up that hole. And, you know, I got so lucky couple weeks, 4 weeks later, maybe it was good, I think, and I was able to start doing therapy. So that's where I met Bobby. And I don't know if you guys know. I mean, I love telling the story how I met Bobby because I didn't want to. They were there. I remember they were trying to have me do sports because I did all those sports. So they're trying to. At the beginning, they try to get you to do what you were doing. Maybe that's their job, is to show you that you have life again. Oh, how cute! That was before the gut. That was before the gut started piling.
Pre-gut, huh?
Pre-gut. So you guys, if you guys are new to this channel, or if you're new to life, take pictures of yourself a lot. Like, take pictures, because I had no idea how priceless the pictures of me jet skiing, the pictures of me walking. They're like I have the one of my last one cleaning my truck, that people have of me. So with my shirt off, washing. So it's just weird. That's why my son gets mad at me, but I'm always taking pictures of everything we do.
Yeah.
Dad, I don't want the picture. And I'm like, you just never know when that last picture is going to be taken,
Yeah.
So that's why I've just learned from this is those pictures are priceless. And that's why that little picture book we were talking before this meeting started, I showed, new clients this little picture book that, it's just got all these different activities. And my mom was taking a picture of me in the hospital that's in that book when I was in ICU, and I had a ventilator, chest tubes, tube up my nose, tubes everywhere. And the nurse told my mom, stop taking pictures of your son because he's going to die and you're not going to want these to be the last pictures that he had. And my mom said, no, he's going to live and he's going to want to see what he came through. So it was just the fight of the people. And I thank God that my mom got those pictures, because I look at it and I'm like, dang, I'm just lucky to be here. So sorry, Bobby, I went off on your question a little bit.
But how long before you were able to enter rehab? Because all the surgeries you said, so it was what, 4 months?
Yes.
And then you had the pressure and then you get to rehab, and I hear about Anthony, and I hear about this jerk of a kid. Sorry, Anthony, but not that you were being a jerk. You were angry. You were what a lot of us are when we first get hurt. You have a lot of anger, and Anthony did not want to be, in this situation. So he had a lot of like, I'm not going to go play sports. I'm not going to do this, and get out of my room and stuff like that. I'm kind of right? I'm not trying to put you like you were a jerk, but no, you were angry. You had some high emotions, and we were just trying to get him to look at life in a different way, and so we took you out to tennis, and I think that was your first wake up call.
Extremely. I remember, I love telling the story because it's still eye-dropping to me, because I remember I went there. I remember when the therapist first said, we're going to go play tennis. I remember looking at her and saying, I could barely push a wheelchair, and you want me to hold a racket and push a wheelchair? I go, now I know you guys are completely crazy. I'm like, I told the therapist, let me see you play me. She goes, oh, I got somebody that you're going to meet. And that's where they have Bobby. And I'm learning that. I always tell people, I was learning the terms. I'm a T4-5 paraplegic, and they're trying to tell me that this guy's a C6 or C5, C6 quadriplegic. And I'm like, what? And then when I see the lady taping the racket to Bobby's arm, he's on the other side of the tennis rack or the tennis court. And I'm like, and I'm saying I can't do this. And I'm like, looking at him like, you're crazy. And Bobby, has the thing taped onto his arm, and he looks over at me and he goes, hey, Para, what did you say you couldn't do? And hits the ball over the net to me. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember grabbing the racket, and I don't know what I did, but I guess I tried to hit the ball over the net. And, it was something that it's in my head. It'll be my life forever, because you guys, we all think when we come to our situation that we're in that we can't do something maybe. And I've learned from Bobby that we can do it, but we might have to do it a different way, And, Bobby couldn't even grab the racket, and he was like, I got this. So that was a huge inspiration for me, Bobby. So I'm so glad that I think all these little things that you get sparked when you're first hurt, like they're little sparks, and that spark, oh, that's cute.
How old were you there?
You know what? That was probably, I got hurt at 19, so maybe like 22. because I didn't want
Okay.
to play wheelchair sports for a year and a half. I didn't really hang with the people in chairs. That's why I think it's cool that Bobby did what he did. He planted the seed, but I didn't want to be around still.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was what I was going to bring up next. It took you a while to get into to doing things, and we saw two pictures: one of that standing frame, and the second one of beginning to play sports, which I think it was hockey to begin with. But so it took you a year and a half. Tell us about that year and a half to 2 years, and then something sparked because all of a sudden I started hearing your name, and I think it came from that picture that was the first picture from that standing frame, because all of a sudden sparked out of you. And next thing you know, we know Anthony as the salesman, right?
Yeah. I started selling that standing frame because I got hurt and I worked at UPS. I got accepted when I was in the hospital to go to the fire academy. I was supposed to be a fireman, I thought. Everything was physical. So then I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't smart. I cheated him through school. Sorry, guys. Oh, shoot.
Don't let your son
Don't
hear
worry,
that.
Anthony. Hey, I did
good.
too. So I did too, so it doesn't matter.
No, so it was. So I don't know how. I think I guess it was a hockey because it was through Joe, my old friend, that we started a medical supply company. But before we started a medical supply company, we were selling standing frames that would stand up. That one that we had at the beginning of this meeting. And I remember I thought, okay, cool. I guess if that's my job, and they were $3,000, I was like, whoa, this is a lot of money. Well, then I found out no one has $3,000 for a standing frame, and it's not covered by insurance because it rolled around. So then I only sold 10 all year and made $200 a pop. So I made $2,000 in a year. So I was just trying to reinvent myself, but obviously that wasn't going to work, So luckily, I tell people, I got so mad that I saw that my wheelchair was like $6,000 and my braces to walk in were like $20,000. I was like, this is highway robbery. But then my other business partner, he was like looking at our catheter supplies every month, and he was like looking at diaper supplies and gloves and just going through all this stuff at the hospital. And he goes, do you see how much all this stuff is that we're using? And our insurance is paying for it? He goes, we're going to sell diapers. And I'm like, what? That doesn't sound like fun. And that's how we got into the urologicals and just starting selling catheter supplies. And it was selling about the events. Hey, dude, you need catheters? Yeah, I want to get them for you. What? And then all of a sudden we had 40 people in wheelchairs working for our company, and we were doing sports and having fun. So the tragedy actually turned into a job for me. And it was unbelievable because I was having fun. I was going out, taking my off-road buggy out, and I was getting clients, and I was meeting them at sporting events. So it was like kind of how we joke about being a rock star. Yeah, there's the Can-Am, But, I joke about it because you know what? We talk about that you reinvent yourself after you get hurt, and we want to make sure that everybody enjoys their job and their life. See, I don't think I get in the Hummer anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was one thing. Yeah. I remember, Anthony, whenever you were putting your mind to something, when you got back into the community with us and you're selling and you're telling everybody, I'm going to go do this. And one of your things that you kept saying was, I'm going to get a Hummer. And, the picture we just saw, that was your Hummer. And we see it kind of in your background over there. So, it was just awesome to see. And 1 second before he goes back to work, Jeff, thank you so much. You're always so gracious to the show. I really appreciate that donation. But thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate the support. So just wanted to give that 2 cents. We got Paul in the house, Ben in the house. Of course, we have the wifey in the house. Jeff came in. Who else? I think we had a Rebecca. Velma. So thank you all for joining us. I know we got a bunch of other people that haven't chatted away, but thank you so much. So you're, I always remember you putting your mind, to what, accomplishing to whatever you were going to say you were doing. So that was the Hummer. I think you had a couple other adventures that you told us about?
Yeah. I think the Hummer was the coolest thing because my doctor told me I couldn't have a Hummer. And so that was like, you know how a lot of us, when the doctors or somebody says that you're not supposed to be able to do something, I think that entices you. It took me 10 years after my accident, but I saved up some money. Luckily, I sold a condo that, made me pretty good money. And that's where I went to the dealership. And my brother came with me. And I remember the guy looking at me and he's like, "You want to what?" And I remember I brought portable hand controls and he's like, "You what?" And so I just love it because, we all like to shock people because, I don't know. They don't really have, I tell people, if you're in a wheelchair, our expectations are really low. Don't go out. Don't do anything. No. We want to do everything. We want to work. We want to play. So I think it was. I just love shocking people. And I remember when I finally got it, and then I was parking in the handicap spots. That's when people were like, it was the UCLA football team was stealing placards, and it was a big thing 20 years ago that people that had placards weren't supposed to have them. And I remember I had the Hummer, and I'd park in handicaps, and people would run up to my car. And they'd start like getting in my window and be like, "Dude, you can't park it in it." And I would just quietly I'd get my wheelchair out. And they're like I love it because we were defying what should be the normal person that's in a wheelchair in a parking spot. So it was kind of cool to me because I like to shock people. Even though I'm paralyzed, you can still have this, But it started from you, Bobby, because just touching that tennis racket, and I think that it did is it like, dang it, we can do anything, I guess. Because if that guy right there can't even grab the racket, I thought I couldn't do this. So I think that's why I think it's so powerful to see people, meet other people. If you're a new injury, I think meeting somebody else through our situation is the huge key. I've met people 10 years hurt. They don't know they can drive. They don't know that they can catheterize themselves. They don't know this because they went to the wrong rehab. So I just hope that that's our whole goal is no one falls through the cracks, because I don't want somebody to go 10 years without living life,
Yeah. So 5 years after your injury, here you are selling catheters. You're about to get your Hummer and you're now starting to play sports, but you weren't doing it by yourself, were you? There was somebody by your side, right?
Exactly. Yeah, when I got hurt, I got blessed. I had a girlfriend. She was 17. And I remember, like what Bobby was saying, when you're in the hospital, we all just don't. We think our lives are over. So I said to my girlfriend, I said, "Just leave. I messed my life up, and I don't want to mess up yours." And she looked at me because she looked at me. You know how we're in shock. She looked at me and she goes, "Anthony, I didn't fall in love with you for your legs." And I'm like, "What?" And I remember being at the hospital, and the guy across the hallway from me, he had a car accident. He was a quadriplegic, married 15 years. His wife left him right there. So I tell people, when you go through dire straits, we have to take pictures from our neck up, though, now, just because, you guys can see it. No, Bob, you distract me with that picture. No, so I feel blessed because my girlfriend did stick by my side, but I always have to rewind the story because my mom told me and my brother when we were little kids going to elementary school and junior high school, she used to tell us that she was praying for our wives. And me and my brother would look at her and think she was crazy. We'd be like, "Mom, seriously, you don't need to be praying for that. We're thinking we can get anything we want." Just like we weren't thinking of what's going to happen in the future. So it took me 5 years after my accident, and I wasn't going for God. I was not saying against God, but I was not. Oh, that's cool. Oh, you're fast forwarding it even a little further. There's my little son right there. When he was, that's Reno. My son was born in Reno, so that's a gondola. He got to go camping before he even came home, because we adopted him in Reno. And that was cool, Bobby. Good little pick right there. But yeah, you know what? I was blessed because she stuck by my side. And so 5 years after my accident, it is what it took me to ask her to marry me. And then she said yes. So, and I gave my life to the Lord 5 years after my accident. I remember my mom, I went everywhere. I'd go to the beach. People would come to me. They're like, "I need to pray for you." This was my first 5 years. I would go get a cell phone, and the guy told me, I got to talk to you about God. I remember I was just, everywhere I'd go, people would talk to me about God. It was just weird. So I finally went back to my mom and seeing these prayer requests coming true. I'm watching life. And my mom goes, Anthony, after 5 years of me fighting it, she goes, Anthony, I told my Mom, all your friends are coming up to me saying I need God. And she looked at me and she goes, Anthony, he's only going to knock so many times. And that's what it did for me. I looked and I go, all right, God, you had to paralyze me. You had to take everything away from me. And now I'm going to give it to you. Like, what can you do with this? And who would have thought, that I'd start a medical supply company, get married. We're going on 25 years on this year. I have a little son that I'm fast forwarding it, right, Bobby? We're supposed to go in the timeline. But it's just, man, it's just a lot of good stuff. And I know I tell this to people when they get hurt that I think you don't see it right now, but good could come out of this. And that's where I'm telling you, like, a lot of good has come out of this, accident.
Well, I know right now I'd like to just jump in here because I know you have a strong upbringing, Christian upbringing when you were growing up. So how did that play a role once you were injured? I mean, I know we're just starting to touch on it right now, but did that play a big role? Were you mad at God? Were you embracing?
No.
How'd you feel?
It's funny you asked that. I'm glad you asked that question, Robert, because when I got hurt and I had the pastor come to pray for me when I was in the hospital, the pastor comes, so Anthony, you're going to come to church now. And I remember looking at him and I go, hey, pastor, can Jesus heal me? And he said, absolutely. I said, all right, perfect. I go, when he does, I'll praise his name. You can get out of here. And so I wasn't mad at God, but I wanted to test it. I wanted to see, is it for real? I told people it's like it was like Santa Claus. You get older, you find out it ain't for real. I go, I died twice. I didn't go to heaven or hell. And so it was weird because my parents were like, well, we don't know how far you were dead. They just pronounced, so whatever, just certain things are starting to go through. And all I can tell you, Robert, is that my mom had over 200 people praying for me. So for like Bobby to come into my room, I think that was a God answer to prayer. For my girlfriend to stick by my side, for me to be able to go to the rehab that I went to. I was hurt during the 94 earthquake. So my parents, I was in ICU, and they got a car accident coming to see me when the earthquake hit. And they thought my bed went across the ICU waiting room, the ICU room, and my bed hit a window, and they don't know how I didn't break out the window and go down 2 stories and die.
So someone looking out for you.
Oh, man, I have so many weird, crazy stories. Like the fireman, the paramedic that saved me. My next door neighbor was a captain. What's the head of them? Captain is the
fire chief.
The captains that are the chief. He was not the battalion, but the guy underneath it. So he got the call at 2:00 in the morning. And he goes, Anthony, I when I got off that shift, he goes, we never have 3 paramedics on one shift. He goes, Anthony, when I got off the shift, we had 3 paramedics take my place. We don't do that usually. Those 3 paramedics had all different ideas how to save you. So I had so many stories, so many crazy stories happening that I tell people, there's no way this could be all coincidence. This was God's sovereign plan, And that's why, Rob, that's why when we're in our meeting and running our groups, I tell them, we're all shocked that we're in this meeting. My God isn't. He's not going down, oh, dang, how did this happen? He knew all of us he knew. And then if you look back at your life, I could look back and going, I was getting ready for this. I could snowboard, surf, dirt bike. I could do anything so quick. Well, he's getting me ready for the challenge of my life, being a paraplegic, Yep. So it's weird. That's how I look at it. Is it, because I wasn't for it, I wasn't godly at that time. I think this is what brought me to it.
Yeah. No, I think everyone in some situation, in some form, find belief, or become a little stronger with that belief. But also, and what about your sense of family? I know with you at that point, you having your son, getting your son and starting your life with that. How did that all play on your goals?
You know what? I never thought I'd be a dad, So yeah, look at us. That was just Thanksgiving, this
It's
last Thanksgiving.
a
So
good picture, man. Good picture.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy because he's driving my truck now. He's 16, So it's like my picture book that I show everybody. He's like swim. I'm teaching him how to swim. So I need to update my picture book. It's like 16 years old.
With that picture, now that picture there, and he got him a new motorcycle, and so he's ready to go now, huh?
Yeah, no, it's been so cool. Yeah, there's a new dirt bike we just got yesterday. So we got to test it out, and dude, it's just so
Yeah.
cool because even though I'm in a wheelchair, I've been able to teach my son how to do things, and that's where I think like a Bobby or any of us, if you're disabled or you can't do it like you used to, we could still instruct. Yeah, look I caught fish with a Snoopy pole just to outsmart those guys on the tubes. You'd have $800 tubes, and I would be like, Snoopy pole, let's do it. But I think those pictures. That's
Do you
funny.
remember
guys
that?
have-
Yeah,
Do you remember where that was, Anthony?
That's the Land Meet Sea right there in Long Beach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a picture of you guys and I was going through it this morning. I'm like, holy crap, I found this one. So-
Yeah,
those
that's
are
a
some
cool
great
picture.
pictures. And like you were saying, it's important to have pictures. I don't have any pictures because the only time you can get pictures in my era is you had to have a camera. Now
Yeah.
there's the cell phones. I mean, you can get. I have bunches of pictures now currently and things like that, but I don't have anything. I wish I did. I mean, it wouldn't hurt me to see. I have one picture of the day when I in motorcycle racing when I got hurt, and it shows me laying on the ground. But that's the only picture I have of anything. Nothing when I was in the hospital on that. But I really do agree with you on pictures. I mean, they show you where you are and where you've risen to and what you've accomplished. I think it's a great thing.
Heck yeah. Yeah, now that's how I see that. Now I don't like pictures as much because you see how fat you are and crooked you are.
I don't like them. I see. We take family pictures, and I'm in my wheelchair, and I go, "Who's that old guy?" If it wasn't for the wheelchair, I wouldn't know it's me.
Yeah. And we used to have a few pictures. I didn't put them up, or I didn't want to put these up. But, at one time, we knew Anthony as the last round at the bar, but it wasn't the last round more. And, you want to briefly just talk about that little period of time and, how that you've overcome that and it's special for you. And I really look into that.
Yeah. No, I love drinking, man. I always want to honor the Lord's first miracle. I always tell people, he didn't heal the lame man. No, he turned water into wine. I'm going to honor it, for God's sake. So yeah, I used to drink all the time, and it was funny because my accident, it was from drinking and driving, but I always would like to stress that it was just a motorcycle accident. And now I like to stress that it was a drinking and driving accident because I drank for 24 more years after my accident. And I don't know how I didn't kill my family, my loving family. And I used to drink and drive all the time. I thought nothing could happen to me, So I was beyond blessed. But it was funny because my brother's the one who called me out. So I hope my brother's watching. Let me see, is he on here? My brother told me, "Hey, Anthony, you want to know why I don't go to church?" And I go, "Why?" And he goes, "Because of guys like you." And I go, "Why? What's up?" He goes, "Right now you're partying with me." And he goes, "Tomorrow you're teaching Sunday school. That's bullshit. That's a hypocrite." And I was like, "What?" So that's what he called me out, that I'm supposed to be different than this world. And I knew that, So I prayed for 10 years. It took me 10 years. Lord, please take the desire of drinking away from me. I'm not an alcoholic, I don't think, but I drink every day. My wife, what do we do? 5 o'clock somewhere, so whatever. It was funny because we went to a Christian motocross riding camp for my son. It was all these pro riders teaching kids how to ride dirt bikes at Glen Helen, a 3-day camp. And so I went there with my friends, and the first night, they have a chapel, and they had a chapel with all the guys riding. I loved it. It was like riding gear, dirt bikes are in this chapel. So it's the kind of church that I would like for everybody. It's like real. It's not fake, And he had a big cross up behind him. And he goes, "Hey, guys, there's people here that are Christian. There's people here that are non-Christian. There's people here that need to give something up. And so he goes, I'm going to give you a piece of paper and you're going to write it down. So I remember I was in the chapel with my son, and we have, a couple friends with us, I think 6 friends. And I took the white piece of paper and I wrote down drinking. And then because we all had papers to write something down. My son wrote something down and we'd hide it from everybody. So no one knew what we were going to write down. And then the guy says, all right, you guys all come up here. He gave us a hammer and a nail, and he had a big 6-foot cross behind him. We had to put the piece of paper on the cross and nail it to the cross. So I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. And I had a cranberry vodka in my chair. So I'm in the chapel and I'm drinking in the chapel, my cranberry vodka. As I say, I'm, putting, drinking on the cross. So then everybody puts their stuff on the cross. He takes everything off the cross. There's 200 pages of people's, what they're not going to do anymore, whatever. He takes it all off the cross. He throws it into a metal bucket and he throws a match and it caught on fire. There's a huge fire. Everybody's like, whoa. He goes, hey guys, whatever you just put on the cross, do not let the Lord's death be in vain. Do not take it back. That finally hit me seriously.
Wow.
You want to be here, Noah?
Wow, that's pretty heavy. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Dude, it was crazy. So the coolest part about this is we're driving home the third day. We're driving. So after I never drank that night, we went back to the campfire. I poured out a brand new bottle of vodka the first day. People, you always, oh yeah, you're never gonna drink. Sure you are. We'll see you next weekend. And I go, no, I put it on the cross, and I'm not drinking. So my friends are like, cool. We're driving home, and my son was 10 years old, and we're driving home, and he goes, hey Dad, I messed up on the cross. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I put the wrong thing on the cross. I go, well, what'd you put on the cross, Noah? And because he thought he had to do something bad or do something that you got to give up. He goes, well, I put that I would read the Bible more. And I go, oh, no, that's perfect. We all need to read the Bible more. I go, no, that's not you. That's perfect. I'll help you. We'll do that. And he goes, hey, Dad, you said you put drinking on the cross. Yes. He goes, Dad, you said what we put on the cross we can't take back. Yes. He goes, Dad, I don't think you can stop drinking. So it was like a double-edged, the coolest thing ever. Because, yeah, my son saw, and I know, my son's 16. I know he's going to go drinking and doing stuff and trying it out. But you know what was cool? And it was actually Jeff, one of our board members for Triumph. It was at my first event I went to after I stopped drinking, and I had 3 shots waiting for me because that's what I do. I like shots. Where let's party. I remember I told Jeff, I go, Jeff, no, I gave it up. I gave it up on the cross. It's totally different now. And he looked at me and he goes, you know what, Anthony? I respect you. I'm going to take this away from you. And he goes, you know what? He goes, I have never seen anything good coming out of drinking in my entire life.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so distracting for all of us. So I thank God that I was able to kind of give that away. And I don't want to be hard on my friends that drink, because I know everybody, likes to drink. All my friends drink every day. My wife drinks every day, still. So it's still, I don't know why, but I'm supposed to be this example. I think me being paralyzed and being so different of this world now got me ready to be with all my friends. And I'm the only one that doesn't drink with all my friends. We're all set to be on stages. And so it's everybody's own timing of when they're going to come out coming for a spinal cord, recovering off of a spinal cord injury, and also for the drinking thing. So now I've even taken it to a full group, a full on worldly thing where, you know what? I just tell people I save probably $1,000 a month from not drinking. You tell me you're in dire straits,
And I think and when you were a heavy drinker too, because, especially at the events. I don't know about at home, but, we worried, you'd get a little crazy. So we always worried about that. So we were glad. I was glad for for you and, that here you are taking care of yourself.
No. Yeah, we had some good abilities expos back in the days.
Oh, yeah. If I can remember, that would be amazing. So, yeah, that's
a good picture.
Yeah, I think that was one of the fundraisers, us playing
Anthony,
poker.
Bobby, and Juice Mode. Hector.
Yeah.
I think the coolest thing that I learned from not drinking, and this is, I wish, whatever. The coolest thing is I thought for me to entertain you at the party, I had to be drunk. I thought for me to irritate you, I'd have to be drunk. I still will irritate everybody, and I still will be the loudest idiot at the party, and I don't have to drink. So I know Bobby had to justify it the other day when I'm going around my scooter, and they're like, "Is that guy drunk?" No, that's just him.
I just answered, yeah.
Just enjoying life.
Yeah. So you have that's us.
Yeah, bro
Look at
hand.
us.
I
With,
love it.
I think we all three of us. That's my dad. All three of us have a Bud Light in our hand.
Heck
A
yeah.
big one too. So that was us, and I think we were in Houston for that picture. But so you're selling catheters. You have a business partner. Like you got finally faith in you. Tell us where there's a transition somewhere in your life, right?
Well, it was the day that I told my mom, I don't need God, and then she's like, well, he's only going to knock so many times. So that was the big transition in my life. But then just being around, I always told the new guys, and if for anybody, whatever you want to be in life, be around successful people. So I was around successful businessmen. So I learned how to do business by successful businessmen. So that's why if you want to be better at sports, be around I want my son riding with the fastest guys at the track. I say, Noah, follow that guy.
Yep.
Can you show so that's for life. So that's just something that I've always just done is whatever I wanted to do. If you're better than me, I'm going to be with you for a little bit, And so that's what I think is cool about what we get to do now is, when we were running our groups and these guys don't know how to do wheelies or go off curbs or get into a car, we get to show them our stuff that we just do every day. And we're just there I'm just there to help you. And I just think that's the best thing that I've learned from life is just helping people. By me helping Bobby and just being friends with people, that's maybe how I got his real estate deal. It's like, God, and I wasn't ever trying to do that. And it's like, by us just taking care of each other, I know you get taken care of. So that just shows you who's taking care of it up on top. That ain't me. That's the big guy showing. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned is to surrender my life to God. And I have, my bills are paid. I have dinner, I think, tonight, And so that's the coolest thing is just being taken care of and being able to help out others. There's no better feeling than what Bobby did to me, that I've been able to do that to other people and give them hope and show them, hey, bro, I'm so sorry,
Yeah. Pay it forward.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Pay it
Hey,
forward.
also, so you got to the point where you're at, and then you started participating more. Well, you continued to get more involved with sports, adaptive sports, continuing with your off-roading. So how's that play now?
Man, that's where I made my best memories, man. I would, we'd go up, me and Bob, we'd go up snow skiing, we'd water ski. Everything that I did before, I've been able to do differently, And, what's cool about it is I got good at it where I got confident enough to learn how to water ski that I took it to the river with my friends and family, and Anthony got a water ski in front of the family again. I instructed them how to help me. So I think that's what's the coolest thing is, yeah, we can go back to our life again. And we're, I know we've joked about it, but becoming a rock star, I'm like the stud because I get to show everybody how to do something that you shouldn't be able to do, And so it's just weird how it worked out. It's just cool. And I think for all of us, everybody that goes through any situation, I always like to take the positive out of the negative. Don't get stuck on the negative. And there's out of every negative situation, there's always a positive. And I like to try to find that part, So,
well, that's good. That's good to tell people too, because the negativity is contagious, and people don't want to be around it. People want to be around that positive, So you have to find, sometimes you have to work at it, but you find that positive, and once you get that kind of dialed in, it's smooth, not smooth sailing, but it's moving forward. It's sailing forward. So hats off to you, man.
I want to bring up one of the things that I totally enjoy about Anthony is positivity, that go out and get them. If you're not sure, try anyways. Just try. And trying is half the effort right there. Anthony does, I'm going to lean more into the fun side of Anthony. So For those of you that don't know, Anthony's really big into off road. Whether he's got the new bike for his son. He's got is it a Razor?
It's a Can-Am
You
Maverick.
got the Can-Am. Okay. He's got a side by side. He's got a bunch of friends with side by
Nice.
sides, and they
Yeah,
got together a
that's my son
group.
and his friends.
And the dealer where Anthony bought his side by side from said, "Oh, you're taking a bunch of people in wheelchairs out to ride in the side by sides. Do you have enough?" And Anthony said, "Well, we got 6." And Megastore, one of the biggest moto dealers in Southern California, if not the country, says, "We'll send 6 more. We're gonna send you a bunch more." Anthony arranged. We went out with, what was it, Anthony? 30, 35 wheelchairs to go out
50.
off-roading in side
Maybe
by
50.
sides.
50.
It was
Wow.
awesome. We had the greatest time out there. And I'm hoping, Anthony, for anybody that would be interested, you can tell them about your setup, how you use your side by side.
Yeah, I mean it's basically just hand controls. Hand controls that you have in your vehicle. It's the same ones in my side by side. I tell people I did put a little extra padded seat, a little extra better, thicker foam on those because they feel good for able-bodied people, but not for us. So I just make sure I got a good density foam. Especially sitting there for 6 hours, 8 hours. So yeah,
Bouncing
just
around,
just be
yeah.
careful because you still can. That's a lot of shearing on bumps and stuff. So
Yeah.
and luckily I've never had a skin breakdown since, but just to be aware, and I think it's because I've been so proactive with just making sure that you're protecting your skin. So
I remember as a lot of us were getting ready to ride in the side by sides, you were telling us, take your cushion with you. Put your cushion down. That way, just what you said, we don't have that shear as we're riding along in the side by sides. And that was pre-COVID, if I remember right. It was like the season before,
yeah.
and we had another event scheduled. That was what, Happy Valley, up off Interstate 5.
Hungry Valley.
And you had another event scheduled for Johnson Valley when COVID hit, and we had to cancel that.
Yeah.
You still go pretty regularly?
You know what? Not as much. I hate to say that. I know you guys, this is the aging program or whatever. It's like I don't ride as much. I did 1,500 miles the first year I had my Can-Am. Last year I did 300. So every year it's been used less and less and less. So I think that's the aging process, as we don't get to play as much, and it's about my son going riding to the track. So I don't bring my Can-Am if he rides at the track because I don't ride at the track with his son. So
Yeah.
I think the whole thing for me is I just love it just because we want to be still interactive with our family. And this has been able to give me kind of like make up for my legs, and that's what we want to do is just get you guys out there. The whole point is just to be out there. And I don't want to hear excuses. Like I had an excuse for Bobby and Bobby showed me, don't say that, so now I'm saying to the new guys, I don't want to hear your excuse, bro. We'll get you out there.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we constantly hear when we're doing patient visits, peer visits, support groups is, well, you don't understand. And actually we do. We've all been there. And, well, I can't do this. Well, actually, I just did that last week. There's always something we can figure it out. And Anthony has been one of the leaders in Triumph and Wheelie, Urological. You've been showing people how to do it. And that's one of the things. You've got a positive message. You tell people how to do it. And that's what we appreciate about you. And you're a pretty nice guy, too, Sometimes, despite what Robert's been saying about you, you are okay.
He's just mad because there were wooden chairs when he got hurt. We had no cell phones to take pictures. They had to be like this. Robert, you're going around the track so fast.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
One of these
Robert.
days, I want to go motorcycle riding with you guys.
Heck yeah.
So we are rolling over the hill. So tell us about now. You said in the chair 30 years. So tell us about your process of getting older here.
Yes, I finally felt it. I think last year, my shoulders finally started to hurt. So I had to lower my F-150, and actually, I was blessed. I gave Bobby a picture of the van, but somebody donated me a full size van that I've been using, and it's definitely helped me out. It actually broke last week, so I've been driving my truck all week, and then my body doesn't hurt. But it's because I'm not doing it all the time. So I've just learned to try to be, think about those transfers. My wife tries to limit me too. Like, I'll take care of this, or my son will help me get the chair in the car. So if you can have somebody else, my son will fill up my tank. I'm like, no, go fill up the car. But I used to do that. So I'm just like learning to just delegate a little bit, just so you don't have to do as many transfers. Because I don't know. I didn't know I was going to be sitting for 30 years. I don't know if I'm going to go for another 20. I don't know. So try to conserve what you got, because my friends that have got time ahead of me, they've been telling me after that shoulder surgery that they're bedridden for 6 months. And they can't even wipe their own butts. So they're the ones that are teaching me to preserve what we have. So for us old timers, just learn from.
Yeah.
We gotta conserve.
Did you really think 30 years ago that you would still be here 30 years after your injury?
No, I bought life insurance, bro, at 25. I thought I'd be dead at 30. So I've been paying on it for another 30 years,
I hear you. After I got injured, I went out and got an all-state life insurance policy. It took a little bit, because they're like, "Oh, you're a paraplegic? I don't know that we can do that." But we worked it out. I had the insurance company talk to my doctors, and they said, "No, so long as he's not stupid, he'll live a while." So they gave me a policy. Yeah, and that's something we should cover in another show sometime. Taking care of things like that, because I know you, Anthony, you're really good about taking care of things. Being smart with your life.
I try. I've been blessed. I know I've been blessed beyond with the friendships that I've been given and the finances I've been given. God's not going to give you more money than you can handle. So that's why I think it's just, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It was cool to do this show with you guys. I just can't believe I'm doing an old man show, or whatever this thing's called.
Yeah.
Rolling over
the hill.
Oh, that's all right. If I roll over this, I got a scooter now, guys. So just so you know, you guys fight going up the hill. I'm going to just have my scooter. I'll rip past you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See. And Anthony, you are a beast on that scooter.
I think that was the day we were going to go racing. Anthony has his turn, but I'm waiting to get mine turned up a little bit. So so we can
that
go
was
out.
Pasadena, right?
Yeah, we were going. And Anthony that day, he was going up hills, and I'm on my hand bike, and I was trying to keep up with him off, on the grass and bumpy parts. Next thing I know, I'm like, "What's oh, my feet are dragging," and he's going up, and I'm like, "Oh no," it's just so bumpy where we were at, but he was just, hauling butt. So, all right, Inga Quad. So you have the scooters, but throughout life, something made you special with with everything. You had this special book that we talked about. You want to, I think that always set you apart from everybody. You have that book?
I do. That book's always, it's in here. Yeah, the old book. So I wasn't prepared for that.
All right.
Here's the old
and
book.
I think,
this is the old book. It's the little book that everybody. What's cool about it is when I meet a new guy and then I see him 10 years later, he's like, "Do you still have that book?" Or so. Yeah. But it's cool, man, because like that picture that I told you guys is like when you get hurt or something, and I don't know if I can. It's just hard.
So
yeah. I mean, this is the cool thing is I know the coolest thing in here is because I got Bobby in here, so this is I love to. Hang on.
Yeah. I think
get my Bobby.
we have some. Yeah, we have some of the
Oh.
pictures.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, that
I
was
gave that
way
to
back in the.
Anthony a long
That's
time
Bobby.
ago, and
That's
yeah.
Bobby. Yeah, that's Bobby back in the day, man. When I first met him.
Dude, getting airborne.
Yeah, I think that day I broke my ankle on that jump or something. So if you look at that picture, if you could put that picture back up, if you look at that picture, look at how my feet are, and one foot. You see how the right foot is kind of already down. I think it was already broken, but yeah, we're like about 6 feet up in the air here. And
Nice.
you know, the guy's like, if you want to have fun, man, I'll take you anywhere on this mountain. So yeah, Anthony
you,
always
Sark?
carried it. What's that? Yeah,
Is that
that's
you,
you,
Sark?
Sark.
Nice.
Yeah, we broke two. I broke two skis, and you know, I didn't get in trouble. His staff gets in trouble. They're like, dudes, come on, and they're like, we know Rohan's crazy, but you know, ease up on the equipment.
We broke these. That's why the new guys. Sorry, guys, you don't get to try out the new. I know wheelchairs broke. They put them out of business.
Yeah.
Sorry, we shouldn't say that. No, but
I
no,
think
I
there's a
just I
picture.
thank God that
Go ahead.
I feel
Anthony.
blessed for the friends that I've met, Bobby, you know, Luis, Robert, you know, that we get to work together and help out the new guys. And man, it just I never thought we'd be doing this meeting today. You know, talk about old rolling over the hill crap. You know, But I hope that just inspires everybody that hey, because Andrew didn't like it when I would tell people that I've been in this chair for this many years. But I know I was inspired when I first got hurt because somebody I met was 40 years in a wheelchair. Because I thought I was going to die soon. I thought I'm paralyzed. I'm going to die. You know, like so it was. So that's why I think it's inspiring for us old timers to meet the new guys. You know, yeah, they can look at us and say, yeah, we're slower, but we can still show them our book and pictures and you know or whatever, tell them stuff. But
just to show them that we survived. Yeah, just to show them that life goes on. We survived. You know, doing what we wanted to do, and time to take life easy now.
Yeah.
Well, and
we were strong enough to. Go ahead, Bobby.
I was just going to say real quick. I remember meeting a guy who said he was injured for 5 years, and I went, "Wait a second, you've been in a chair for 5 years?" I'm so glad they're telling me that the cure is right around the corner. Gosh, because I don't know if I can do 5 years. That's like that's like telling me I'm going to go to prison for 5 years, and now I got coming up on 35 years. So. Go ahead, Louis, before we do our sponsors and talk about our shows coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say that, most of us, we are spinal cord injuries because we are strong enough to survive what would kill most other people. Mm-hmm. And if we're strong enough to survive our injuries, we're strong enough to survive this life. And we're doing it. Everybody in the chat, too. You're all here because you survived something. The people we meet in the group, you survived it, you can survive the life.
And I think that's why we hold a strong bond between, the four of us. It helps when we live together. But, I encourage you to meet others in your community and see, because you'll find the bond there. You'll find that, hey, we have something in common. No other, just the other day, we were at a hospital visitation, Anthony and I, and one of our upcoming guests coming in next month. And here we are, just finished lunch, and we're talking about piss and shit, our bowels, and it's just like it's nothing, like it's a daily thing. So, it's just one of those,
a little different conversation you have with your able-bodied buddies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're not sitting around with your cousins going, yeah, my pee was stinky a little today,
Oh man.
But Anthony, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yes. Good job,
I appreciate
man.
Good job. The one thing that I can just vouch for you is you've given a lot of people hope. You always talk about how I gave hope, and you paid it forward now. And the one thing that we can all say here, the message that we can give out, and Anthony has this on the back of his business cards because he stole it from me: never give up.
Never give up.
Yeah.
No, Bobby. Mine used to say never say never.
Oh, never say never. Sorry, yeah. I knew you stole something from me. Never say never.
Well, you know what? It's funny because I had to take that off my card because I'm never gonna drink again. So it's weird how the saying I had on the back of my card
Yeah.
is now
Contradicted.
bit
Yeah.
me. You know? So now I have on it. It's a scripture. It's Philippians. Oh man, it's on my stand.
What?
I'll have to get my glasses for that. You know what? This is perfect. The way to end an old meeting. I got to do it with my. Now what's on the back of my card is Philippians 4:13.
Look at you, old
I
man.
can do all things through Him who strengthens me. Booyah!
Ah, good deal.
Oh, I love it that
Cool.
you had to get your glasses.
Oh my
To
god!
read
You guys.
that.
So that was the perfect way to end this old meeting thing or whatever. Well, no, thank
But
you
like-
guys, man.
Thank you.
But never
Thank
say
you for
never
everything.
that you're going to drink again. So that's something to be proud of. And, you know, for all the encouragements that you give others and the paying for that we all do. And I hope that you learn from Anthony that you too can pay it forward as well.
One
Robert,
last thing I'd like to bring up too is coming up March, Abilities Expo, Los Angeles. Live to Roll is going to be there. Triumph Foundation's going to be there, and Anthony's going to be there.
Yes.
So if you want to come meet Anthony in person, and you will enjoy yourself. Anthony's a fun guy. Come visit us at the Abilities Expo in Los Angeles.
And a little shout out. They're not one of our sponsors, but he does work for a company called Apple West selling medical supplies. So his Instagram is in the description. You can always reach out to Anthony. He's very knowledgeable with catheters.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Anthony. You've always helped out people when they were low on supplies, and you find a way to get people what they need. So, but with that, we do have to say a little something about our sponsor. You want to take it away, Robert?
Sure. We want to thank, as I mentioned at the beginning, our great sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals, part of the community, always involved with some of our events, and from all the staff, they're always participating in some form or another. Mobility professionals, they're located here in Southern California, providing wheelchairs and rehab equipment. So if there's anything you need, check them out. They're located there in Lake Forest. And then Urology Professionals, their sister company, is a national company that provides all the things you need for urological supplies. Again, the same people work tight with you. It's like family. So if you're looking for any of the rehab equipment, wheelchairs, urology, mobility professionals, and urology professionals, check them out.
Yeah, and thank you everyone in the chat. I was going to say Luis, but that's you, Luis. Roy, thank you so much. Let's see here. Juan, happy life birthday. Juan just had 9 years. Angry Quad, he was in, he was out. Who else do we have? Andrew, he's on the boat. I think he had to check out a little bit early. Yeah, man.
Thanks, Becca.
It sounded like a pretty nice little trip that he had. THC, thank you so much. Daryl, what's going on? And I think I already got everybody else. Paul's. So thank you so much for joining us. Remember that you can catch our next show next Tuesday, same time, 3:30 with Tom and Shawn. And then on Wednesday, we have Gaming with Tom. Would you like to play again? I got to get my sound effect out. So we have Tom with T Fizzle. I know he was there last night. And then we have a new show a week from today, the Golden Oldies. I hope I'm right about that. Rolling with the Golden Oldies. That will be our new show. They're going to be on once a month with Ellen Stoll, Mickey Flower, Julianne Delara and Michelle Altamirano. They're all great ladies that have lots of knowledge. And I think we were talking about this on Tuesday. I think they're close to 200 years, the combined four of them. So pretty close. Yeah. So, well, no, probably more like 150. Sorry. But they're going to be on the new show. And then you can catch the other women. We're on the 2nd and 4th. And then we have our other women's group. They're on the third Thursday of every month. So they're the Will Girl Talk. So they got a new name, new banner. Hopefully you guys love the new look. Thanks for joining us. Anthony, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Robert, Louise.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Anthony.
All right.
We're saying
Live to roll.
live to roll.
Yeah.